Now they may be saying, "Hey, it doesn't matter because Gwen is just inconsequential in these endgame team fights, especially since Wukong can always get the knock up on her." But maybe they don't. Maybe they don't. You know, you're giving Bin the best possible situation for himself now. Also interesting, it's like the draft. I guess what they're saying is by getting rid of Cassante Gragas, if 369 is gonna play a tank, that kind of niches him in more to the Malphite and Scion pick, and Malphite completely unplayable into Gwen. So maybe opting for the sort of gambit that, hey, we can take Gwen. We know that you want to be the tank in this matchup, and so the only thing that's left meta wise is Scion. But 369, the whole team could have changed their shape, but they're deciding, hey, you know what? We're so good at team fighting. We're just gonna take it to you. You want to drop the gauntlet? Let's go. I'll pick it up. There's the trophy. We'll see these early game starts. Maokai probably going to be starting Raptors. You see all the pings going out. I don't like this pinging. This should just be one word from a coach, right? You should just have a play. Just say, hey, this is what we're doing, and everyone should know what their assignment is. There shouldn't be any amount of pinging, like, no, you go here, I'll go here. We do end up with fan out. Jinx is going to oscillate. She's going to kind of poke her head out and then poke back in, constantly move around to make sure she's not getting hit by anything over the wall. Not that there's anything really to be afraid of. Xayah is welcome to go get W in this situation, but normally they're going to go Q. Now that they don't have Rakan, they can go QE at level 2. Try to get some amount of disengage. Rakan Jinx is going to be much stronger in the all-in here, but Xayah will have plenty of self-peeling power against Rakan. I love seeing metagames with Xayah Rakan. I love those two champions. Now we have Annie. Knight's Annie has been a standout. He's going to rush Lucid Boots, and he's going to go for as many engages as possible. We've seen plenty of Leandry's Anguish as well. And here we go, late invade. If you're going to do this, 119 if you're coming in from the bot side, 127 if you're coming in from the river, are your timings. It's something you just want to be occult. You want to be disguised. And actually, this ward right here does not see people hugging that wall. Very important to know that. So something I'd like to see different from them. They're going to go for the Scion play. This is classic pairing, and perhaps this is what they want. They want to bait this play. Gwen is going to be the big benefactor of this play, as is Ruler. The idea behind it is that you're willing to int the Scion, and it looks like they're having a little standoff. They're fighting for wards here. Scion is going to smash, and they're going to combine the smite. They say, we're going to do it now. They end up getting the first kill, and Scion dies, which is not something that they mind at all because they've gotten the advantage elsewhere. He's not able to get any other hits, though. And it was Elk that got the red? No. What? Elk got the red. Are you serious? No, it had to be Kanabi. Okay, it was Kanabi that got it, and then Jinx got the kill on the Wukong. Maokai goes back up, picks up the camps, and he's going to hover this area because Ruler usually is the big benefactor, right? He had some time to himself there. He's already got 11 CS, 3 CS over, and Elk, despite having the red buff, is taking a little bit of chunk of damage. Now, you don't want to let him just sit here with the red buff ticking his HP up. So I want to see some amount of aggression, but you see that Maokai's already shadowing, trying to play against this aggression. Here he goes. He's got a good angle. It flashes up. He's got it. He's flashing early. The idea is to catch the Lulu, and they've caught her. All right, so here we go. I want you to see max damage, Ruler. Deal as much damage as you can. You have to keep on going in. All their damage is coming to the other player. Keep on dealing it. Keep on dealing it. Keep fighting because you've got Wukong at your back. They do make the call to continue forward, which means they're going to get a trade kill. This is masterfully played by JDG. Just so brilliant. Having that spot on communication, and they team fight better than any team in the world, and that's why they are the best. Love the adaptation by BLG, just need to be a little bit tighter. They were trying to donate the kill, and that gave the Wukong enough time to come on over. Great adaptation by Wukong also. Having stolen the red, was able to go blue Gromp to hit level 3 and get into that fight. Beautiful, beautiful early game start. Love to see this kind of action. And now we're going to have to take stock of Gwen, but check out the play again. All right, so Maokai finds the angle. They see that Lulu's far enough behind. You flash to try to get Ruler to flash. So I love that play, right? A little bit of a bait here. They go W into traps. The trap locks, and then he knocks him back. Beautiful, beautiful. Here we go, Elk. You got to start dealing some more damage. You should not be afraid of this Wukong right now. So that's the difference between them. Elk playing a little bit further back, Ruler realizing that he could deal permanent uptime damage. Now let's take a look at this top lane. Sion, what he got for himself from that bot lane assist was the refillable. So he was able to go into this situation with refillable in his pocket. Hasn't taken too much chunk damage here from Gwen, but Gwen is only going to get more and more problematic. You see that she's already got an experience lead as well, up a half level on Sion, and she's going to be a huge problem. But largely that's what you do with Sion. He's got such an abysmal early game. And if you watch Baus, you know, like, he's willing to int into bad matchups to create favorable lane states that thus create themselves a winning matchup, right? You just int, but make sure that the lane is good. You get more experience, you teleport in, and then suddenly the other laner has no option but to get out. You just take a full-on trade, you die, you punch back, you clear minions, you get a better shop off, and then you come back to the lane. Enemy team has to just back and teleport, and it makes it this skewed dynamic up in the top lane. Instead, they say, hey, you know what? We agree Sion, very, very bad, has an incredible passive, but rather than give the advantage to the top laner by dying to them, we'd rather go into the bot lane and try to get something for ourselves. So interesting adaptations. I love seeing this Sion metagame evolve. We're going to have plenty to come from it, especially with new items coming out. It's going to be fascinating to see what direction we take these Sion invades. And on top of that, you have the other option, which is Sion just go and solo a buff, solo a camp like Wolves. You can take Wolves and start moving it up towards the blue, and then die to the Wolves, finish Wolves, sprint to blue, and kill blue. Right? So, like, there's some incredible things you can do with the Sion Ghost. But we'll see if any of those come out later in the series. For now, we've got JDG grabbing Dragon for themselves. They lose a little bit of experience to do this, but they're going to get themselves that permanent stack. Knight just expertly. You come in at me, I immediately chunk. This is something that I've seen him do. Any kind of dash ability, anyone engaging, he's always got that W ready to go. Now, Jayce stepping up, not wanting to get the wave pushed in on him because he doesn't have teleport, means that he has to back off. And this is what we talk about with these expert Annie players. People that think that this champion is easy don't do enough with it. Because the ultimate, when you're microing the bear, you're using your own character and the bear, and you're using the bear animation canceling the auto attacks, trying to get everything from that, and knowing when you can use it for just a lane pressure, the way that Annie just did here. So she, this Annie has full mastery of the champion, doing absolutely phenomenally with it, and winning these trades, sending Jayce back for the second time. Now, Jayce finally gets Serrated Dark and Tear together, so he's got the full complement of starting items, refillable as well, looking to try to take advantage of this matchup from here on out. Jinx, however, being 2-0 is going to be the huge benefactor, and we have this problem where you've got Gwen is going to have this winning matchup into Sion, and we have Jinx that's fed right now. Rakan just barely getting over those traps before the arm. And so they've got a significant point of strength. The only problem is that Annie's been bodying the Jayce so far. She's going to pick up the rest of this minion wave that's coming in, and should be enough to get her back in the lead. Experience-wise, oh no, maybe just pretty close. Pretty close. All right, not so bad. That is something that you have to do against Jayce lanes, is use your ultimate. Right? Because they have access to 6 spells. They don't have an ultimate. You need to be willing to just trade. Right? Cast your ultimate as if it's another spell in your cycle, and then let it come back up.
Lulu with the block.
That was sick, right? She blocked it so that Ruler could finish his back. Okay, do they counter the engage here? We have the ultimate. Wukong going for a big chunk now. They're going to go and push this, but will they opt to instead just leave the Tibbers? Tibbers is good enough at pushing this wave by itself. Maokai using the ult to disengage brilliantly. All right, use an ultimate. One ult worth a Rift Herald, absolutely. So they get that for themselves. So now JDG is kind of struggling. They're going to try to get something done, but there's no mid wave. The Tibbers HP bar, or the Tibbers life bar, is going down. And what are they going to be able to get for themselves? Probably nothing. They're just going to have to use the remainder of the Tibbers timer here. Jayce is going to recall and teleport back in. And yes, you've got to push. She's going to try to get the Tibbers to ult out. Nope, he gets the 50 gold. You have to try to avoid giving that 50 gold to the enemy team there. All right, Rakan feeling fairly strong, but it's just on top of the Wukong. How are they going to set up the mid game? Well, look at the shape of the fights, right? Jayce is looking for front to back. Jinx looking for front to back. Rakan is going to charge right at you with Maokai, and we could have a flank from Gwen. So we have a very nice T-bone structure. You're not actually kind of closing the clamp on anybody, but you're trying to move them back and have Gwen into isolation on the backside where she can rip through one of the carries. One of the problems, though, Wukong, very deceitful, right? He's got that decoy. You can't quite be sure. He also has the ultimate to go through you if you're Gwen. Xayah also has self-peel. Annie, her full burst is going to come out anyways, despite, whatever you do. So who's the real target when you're coming in? If you're Gwen, I mean, you're looking for Xayah, but the problem is she's got such a incredible set of self-peel tools. The one thing that Gwen will be able to do is potentially block the feather drawback. Now let's look at this position. Rakan feigning strength, because the last time that we saw the jungler was in the tri-bush and then stepping back. On the other side, though, Sion, ultimate front to back. You've got beautiful catch potential in Wukong Annie. This is a team team composition they've done many times. Just combining these two champions with AoE damage and saying, hey, whatever fight we take, we have first strike, no matter how we cut it. Not just in Annie's rune page, but also just having it as a team. We're always going to be able to snap engage. Now, is Annie going to... No, she missed a chance. She could have taken one turret shot there. Jayce's Q is down. He doesn't have any follow-up there. She could have walked up and taken an auto attack. A very ambitious Jayce might have tried to step forward in anticipation and then flash E to knock her under turret. But she would have flash in response if that came up. Ruler going with his own skin. I love it. Going with Samsung Gaming. Unfortunately, it's for another team. You'd like it to be your team, but that is his own skin. Shout out to that team in 2017 that was able to beat SKT in the rematch finals. That was Ruler winning a Worlds event before he'd ever won a domestic event. Kind of crazy. Kanavi finding an angle. They think they found Bin up this far. Gwen staunch, but not that staunch. Look at the amount of damage. They almost die. Lulu stepping out early, but there you see how strong Gwen can be. And realistically, even though you got that kill, you sent 3 people up top. You had to use multiple spells. You used all 3 ultimates. All 3. And in the meantime, Maokai's getting the dragon for themselves, and Jinx and Rakan have had some solo time in bot lane. So Jinx is going to be tremendously far ahead now that they have this extra time alone. If they're able to pressure the Xayah, they are able to get her back. Maokai does get the dragon for themselves. It is Ocean, which will help the laning phase for them. But that'll be more than anything a boon to the Gwen, who's now going to be able to take any trades that she wants into Sion. There's no threat of anything coming back. So be careful if you're JDG, because that is going to be a severe point of weakness. Now, Elk not willing to make the same mistake as last time, which was to try to step up to get any of this gold. It is long-standing gold. It does help, but having it on your jungler at this stage in the game when they're the strongest doesn't hurt, right? It's not worth inting to step up. It's the same amount of net gold. Yes, you'd like it on your carry, but it's not like Maokai wouldn't be able to use the burst of gold to rush his demonic embrace. Now Gwen going up, taking the maximum for themselves. Ooh, dashing in right to the edge of turret range. Sion going to get a max power W off. Does he have max points in this? That would be something. I don't expect it at all. I expect him to have full points in Q so that he can actually control waves or have any semblance of wave control, right? You just want to knock the whole wave out with 1 Q, 1 W, take a lump from Gwen right after you release the W and be happy, right? And just, okay, she can do that to me every time that there's a wave, and we'll do 4 waves of this and then I'll recall. It's just a pretty simple pattern to play tank. Never offer the full range advantage. Now, if you're Gwen, she's been pushing this and trying to turn it into plates. The other option would be to try to turn it into a freeze. The problem with freezing into Sion is that he has multiple options as far as trying to either trade and then die and push the wave, or threaten you with his corpse with the ghoul, or he can go skip ahead and proxy in this pro meta game, they're almost never going to do that sort of strategy where it's being willing to. And now look, check out this gank angle. Multiple CCs being used, gets over the flashes over the Rakan engage, means that they're able to get it and give the kill to Jayce. So they do take a chunk of damage back. Remember, you got to go kill that Tibbers. Tibbers dealing a chunk back as well. They get the ward for themselves too, which means that JDG will have the inside track on the Rift Herald and on midwave temporarily at least. You see Ruler. When you auto attack, one of the things that you can do on Xayah, you actually want to cast your W as your attack is in the air because it'll still proc and give you that extra damage. If you cast it before, it'll get you a second wind up faster. So it's pretty close, but you see that Ruler is accepting, I want the extra time on my attack speed buff and I want that first upfront tick of damage. So he goes for the W while it's in the air. So correctly answered by JDG. They go up here. They show some strength. It means that Gwen needs to step back slightly. Are they actually going to give her something like Gromp? That would be incredible. I don't think they will, though. No, they're going to Maokai. Sometimes you'll see enemy top lane Gwens right there going to the side lane. You've got such a long lane, and you've got 3 or 4 enemy champions on your side of the map, and they may step back. But they're opting to go in here. They're actually going to make a play. They're saying, hey, you've overstayed, but we missed the Jinx rocket. Means there's not really going to be that much follow-up damage. Bin doesn't have any kind of angle, and that's just a misplay. JDG just having control of that area. If you're BLG, I don't understand why you're trying to make any play on that side of the map. There's nothing really to gain. Enemy team was just there. They just had the full power in the river. Sion disappeared from top lane. So Gwen was on vision under turret. Annie was reviving and coming back to lane. Maybe because they saw her down bottom, they thought maybe we can show some strength here. But showing the advantage of vision there. Just, we've been here, we've got the vision, we'll see you, you can't see us. We're going to get first strike on all this damage, and we're going to choose the conditions of these fights. Now, JDG is going to be very patient in this game. They're more than willing to wait for Wukong and Annie ultimates to come up for themselves. We'll see, can Yagao flex right here in this matchup? Look at this upfront damage. Using the W, right? So use the W when you're in ranged form before you swap. That way you will get extra melee attacks and get the extra effects from those. Rakan able to finish again. Again, we see Lulu tagging with the E during the ending animation. I think that time it was actually into the shield, so it just wasn't enough damage to stop. And here we go, Sion into Bin. It's got to be into Ruler, yeah. Bin extending again. It's like he wants so badly to win, and he wants to be the reason that they win, and I don't like it. I don't like it. Elk, spend the carry for your team. I like this team much better when Elk is the carry. And, Elk hasn't done anything wrong. Elk's doing great. 2-0, 169 CS. They're doing fine for themselves. They've got 2 items. They're about to finish Berserker Greaves on their next recall. So definitely in a position to carry for themselves. The early rapid fire is a little bit concerning. Just saying, hey, it's so threatening to step forward, and it tells you where their mind is at, that they're potentially not willing to take every single angle. Rapid fire gives you a safety valve. It does give you that extra attack speed, so you get to animation cancel a little bit faster, and you get that first auto at range, just going for one long range Fishbones attack, and trying to do that every 10 seconds or so. Now on stepping out, has to use the W. He's baiting. You can see that that's a bait. Like, yeah, you've dealt a big chunk of damage. I'm juicy. You want to come get this, right? Nothing doing. Yagao doing what Jayces do, just absolutely flexing in the early game, and this is going to be the strongest part of the game, and Jinx gets that kill. Annie gets caught out. First time that we've seen susceptibility from Knight on Annie. And they're saying, you know what, we're going to just keep taking it to her. We're going to go where she goes. We're going to find her. We've got the Jayce, so we always have priority where we go. Not just that, but we have the Maokai to help us take control of these bushes and areas. Maokai a little bit weaker, much weaker on an Infernal map. Okay, the damage will stick a little bit more when you do have these Infernal Dragons stacking up, that's true. But as far as total amounts of bushes to put in your things and the total amount of corridors, it's much easier for people to circumvent your saplings. So around these quadrants, much worse. Still will be fine in the river, but you also have that gaping entrance at the dragon now, so again, more areas for them to skirt past the saplings no matter where you put them. So now we start seeing a little bit of the shape, this rapid fire cannon, the plan that they're going to put together with the Jayce and the Jinx. Oh my goodness, having to use the ultimates. All right, good job. Saying, hey, we've got a hyper long range advantage over you by building this way, combining Jayce with Jinx and going rapid fire cannon particularly means that we're just going to be able to control this mid lane. We're going to be able to shove you out because we've got all this range advantage. You can never really get nearby. And Wukong Annie, what kind of angle are they going to get? Now, the chance for breaking this will be Sion, right? Sion can commit to this fight and he won't die. And here he goes. He's ulting right now. Who's going to block it? Someone's going to block it and they're going to try to take the fight. Rakan dashing in front to take the hit for the team to make sure that it doesn't get on to the backline carries. But you see what JDG is thinking and what is going to have to be the play if they want to get out of this situation. It's going to be a 4-1 siege. Gwen could hammer in, or she can continue split pushing. And we see that the draft, right, is going to favor them for this reason, this long range. And the fact that, like, what kind of mismatch are you trying to create for yourselves? If Sion ever does get into the middle of the team, Gwen is super happy in that situation. It looks like she's building Merc treads, which I would not agree with. Sion is all knockups, and you have majority physical damage from this team. It's only Annie's stun that you'd really be stopping. It would be a Xayah root, but if Xayah root is hitting you as Gwen, then you've got other problems. So I absolutely do not want to see this turn into a Merc treads. I'd like to see it. I don't know what I want to see magic resist for. Honestly, I'd rather see like anathemas. If you're going to team fight, you can anathemas the Annie, and then it also means that when you're diving the team that you're good. But if you're going magic resist, I would want it to be like Abyssal Mask, which is a great damage item for Gwen. It would also prevent some of the damage from Annie. I do not like this Merc Treads purchase at all. This is the sort of fight that we want. Sion flashing and ulting, and Rakan saying, hey, we can go for this. Sion says, no thank you. But flashes down, and we're going to keep on getting worse and worse situations from this. Sion going for Radiant Virtue, very much showing that he wants to team fight. This is the stickiest, right? You can get into the fight, survive the longest. You see sometimes Jack Show is being built on. You're really tiptoeing that line, man. Whew. Let's take stock of some JDG items. We've got Radiant Virtue. It looks like we're going to get Gargoyle Stoneplate. So absolutely Sion just trying to survive for the maximum amount of time here. We've got Divine Sunder and Black Cleaver from Wukong, which is a classic combination. It's also going to amplify the damage for the Xayah. It does open up a full AP and Spell Pen build from Knight. So normally we saw Lucid Boots, but because she's the only magic damage threat on this team, oh my god, look at Rakan's position. Look at this positioning, saying, hey, yeah, we want this. We want to continue sieging. Look, it's my job to be up here. I've got Merc Treads. I'm not really afraid of Polymorph shutting me down here. Saying, hey, come on. Okay, get a little closer. Get closer to me. The lengths that they'll go to. Look at this. They're just willing to get this siege. Hey, look how close I am. You want this, don't you? Ooh, Shrelia's being used. Wonder if they thought it would be a turn. No, they're just doing this because it's the end of the dragon, so they want to feign some amount of aggression. They're saying, hey, look, we're going to be aggressive right now. Get them to back off, and that means that there's no contestation. But I don't think, ultimately, that you need to use Shrelia's there. And JDG is just really looking like they have no plan for this. I'm going to start putting this into the draft system, see if we just have a full draft win. We have Gwen, Maokai. Jayce, Jinx, Rakan stays the same. Sion, Wukong. Okay, nope. Still overall even. Just put it on screen for a little bit. Boom. Seeing where the scaling advantages are. Total scaling difference is going to go in favor of late game. Wait, what? Okay, no, there we go. Minus 28, yeah. So offering the favor here for Gwen. All right, so how is JDG actually going to break this? All right, we're going to start seeing ward lines creeping up. They want to try to get a vision advantage. There's no real pick on their team. They really just need the fight to come to them into short range for Annie Wukong to have this effect. What they may try to do is say, hey, Bin has been overstepping. We'll wait till he oversteps over and over and over again and go for these kills. And once we do get it, then we'll go for the continuation at something like Baron. So they do find the pick for themselves, but BLG is already on the Baron. But look at this, 3 champions already in position. Annie still has Flash and Tibbers, so they're going to be coming in. The Maokai ultimate being used so that they can burst it out, but they need to get out of dodge right now. Full on engage from JDG. You have to int right now. Sion, int. The call needs to be int. Be willing to die because your team is going to get 4 kills here. Zun is getting out. Is that the call? No, he's going to go back in because Ruler has found the angle. So they get the one who was escaped. A little bit of turnaround damage from Yagao, but now look at this. Tibbers tanking under turret. You step up. Ruler does get popped on the turn. Jayce is brought down, but he gets 1 trade back for himself. And overall, they actually can claim a win there. BLG also surviving with 1 Baron buff. So they get the Baron and 1 gets out. They get 1 to survive. JDG, 3 people alive. Big team fight win for themselves, but the Baron is still theirs, and the Baron will be good to go. I'd rather see the same play, but without Bin starting the fight dead. He's just overcommitting. The call was definitely there, like, hey, we're going to start Baron. You can go ahead and press forward right now. And you see that net play is positive. All right, 4 deaths. 4 deaths for 2, but we get Baron. The gold will be fine for us. The power, you see right there, just the extra money. Even with the deaths, they're still up 1,000 gold. That's just from the Baron. It gives so much experience. Now, them winning the team fight, JDG winning the team fight means that they got plenty of experience as well. But we'll see what they can get now with the rest of this fight. Check out this position. Sion going forward. I'd like to see Sion be a little bit more aggressive. Good. Oh, he misses his ult into the pit. That would have completely changed the fight. If 369 actually gets in the pit there, it looks like he thought that maybe they would flash out, and he thought that maybe he could hedge his bets against that. But if he goes into the Baron, you actually get a win-win situation where it buys time for your team to get out. So big missed opportunity there. And you can tell that his steps, he keeps on clicking backwards. And if we're coaching and we're working on like what can Sion do here, a couple different things, several different things actually. 1, get into the Baron pit. 2, be willing to die. And 2B, you saw it multiple different times right there. He actually dropped aggro and it got Ruler killed. It's your job to die so that Xayah can live. Oh, look at that. 4 wards being placed on top of that blast cone to stop the disengage. So Sion needs to be able to do those things in that position, in that fight. If he dies under turret and you get the Sion ghost, your team walks away with just 1 death. Your most important character would still be alive. You wouldn't be giving up the shutdown. All systems point to Sion needs to be willing to die there. But beautifully done there by BLG, pressing up and using that collection of wards to get the pick means that they've got 15 seconds to take this dragon while they're advantaged. Now expect JDG to start fighting, right? The whole idea is to try to wait for the Annie respawn. So you show a little bit of aggression, you try to get some cooldowns down, and you buy some time for Annie to teleport in. But now 369 needs to be willing to come back in. The only problem is that they took too much damage up front, so they get 2 deaths, and now BLG is going to take it to them. And really, JDG has not found an angle in, and largely it's been because 369 has not been willing to int for their team. Now they're going to get 2 more deaths. Sion is going to step up. Is he going to try to step ahead and try to stop the wave or anything? No, there's no way he gets close enough to that. Next wave, so they're going to come up, they're going to tank for this. Zun on Maokai can tank this turret, and then when the next wave respawns, he can use the W to get onto the wave. Remember to kite forward, don't kite backwards if you are tanking for turret. Looks like they didn't actually wait. They let the minions come in for them, saying that they want to be healthier. But with 10 seconds left, they could have gone for more there. Nothing left on the map to claim. They could have actually given up a little bit more health and gone further with just Lulu to stop them. Let's take a look at this position just on point this game. He's been baiting and baiting and baiting, trying to get them to come in. They get this upfront damage trade. They're still hitting Dragon while dealing all of this damage. Bin, oh my gosh. Fully stacked Conqueror, fully stacked Riftmaker, and fully stacked Ultimate means that he's able to take Xayah with one cast of the R. Good punish. Knight's been so good at having his mouse basically ready to just turn and stun at a moment's notice or deal any amount of burst. So good. And good job by Sign to get that turn. They do end up getting two for one there, but if he doesn't do that and they just continue to get chunked out, then maybe the team goes and ends the game. Right. If Jinx is left alive, there's too much turret pushing pressure there. So 369, how are you going to find a way to win this game? You've got to get a way int. Find a way int. Here's the engage. Be of the body for your team, please. Thank you. Rakan's going to get this knock up. And the charm. Xayah lands on the charm, means that she's going to die on the way down. And absolutely BLG is just going to slap them with their wallets. Now Wukong trying as hard as he can to maximize his damage, but it's not enough. The carries are already dead. And this will be game number 2 for BLG. Jayce is going to go in on Lulu now that he can. Can he get out? Good job with the shields there, making sure everyone's alive. They stepped out. Slight little thing that you can mention when you're tanking that last turret shot. Yes, you know you're going to die, but the further you run, the more you make the turret travel. And when it travels more, it's going to be slower to arm its next attack. So you can actually slow down the total number of attacks from a turret by doing that. Something that is worth noting, but clean finish to the fight. BLG absolutely taking it to them. Tactical ints. All right, that's the story of this game. BLG did it better than JDG. We'll see what goes on in game 3.